Welcome back to another enlightening episode of Solutions Podcast, a podcast that delves into insights and strategies that supercharge your business growth. I'm your host, Victoria Najmo, and today we have with us a special guest, one who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in the world of consultancy. Joining us today is Mrs. Uche Umana, the CEO of Salon Business Africa. Welcome to the show, Mrs. Umana. It's glad having you here.
Thank you for having me.
So, we're thrilled, actually, personally, I'm thrilled that I have you here to share your expertise in this particular topic we're about to dive in. Now, the topic we're diving in now is top mistakes that small businesses make when not working with consultants. And I know that you have a lot to say on this topic because you have been treading this path for like 13 years.
Absolutely.
And more, and counting. So, before you start, can you just kickstart by telling us what are some of the mistakes, or better still, what are the why seeking consultation is crucial for small business owners?
Okay, so not just small business, any business owner. Now, like I said, when we started this, so most times it's a need that brings about a job or a business idea. So what I learned from my experiences, you spend a lot, you make a lot of mistakes when you start blind. And that is what most times starting without a consultant does for you. Consultancy is not very popular, or would I say really appreciated in our client here. So it makes it difficult for most people to understand. So you see the average person say, I have this amount of money, I would like to start a business, or I don't like the way the economy is looking, I want to start a business. So they delve right in and they leave what I call the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps and hit 5. So when they start making that mistake, because 5 is where you now start the physical structure, the investment. So when you start making that mistake, because the money is already down the drain, that's when most people now go back to 1, which is talking to someone who already knows, number 1, the climb, number 2, understands the business, number 3, is ready to give you a roadmap, and number 4, ready to hold you through the process. Now that's what a consultant is.
Yes, I understand that. I understand everything you said. But like you said, a lot of people are really skeptical about reaching out to consultants. And I'm going to use a scenario, an example to back that up. So I have this friend of mine that wanted to go into hair business. And she had the money. She had the capital to start. She had the idea, but she didn't know how to go about it. I know this hair business is sometimes, especially if you are selling human hairs, you will have to have a legit vendor. So you don't have to sell the wrong,
absolutely,
what I got versus what I
saw,
versus what I got. So, and I was like, okay, reach out to this person, because there's another of our friend that was I've been into it for like a year plus. Reach out to this lady, let her put you through, at least let her give you her what they call them, the numbers, that where she gets her supplier's numbers, where she gets hers. And she was like, oh no, it's not like I'm telling her to like consult an expert, I'm telling her to reach out to a friend. And she was so skeptical about it. So imagine now telling someone that's about to start business, like, okay, you have the idea, right? You need to develop this idea, and you need the right experts to advise you on the road. And they always feel skeptical about it. So I want to know, what causes that?
So sometimes that fear is genuine, because most business entrepreneurs will not give out what they call their trade secret. Because by the time, and I'm going to explain that, right? So by the time I sell hair, you sell hair, and I give you my vendor's number, it means we're going to be working basically on price, who's cheaper. So I am literally putting myself out of business.
Okay.
So that is why most people won't do that. However, there are still people who grow on this business, and that's where also having a consultant comes in, because if you don't have a growth trajectory, you're going to get stuck at just sales. Okay. And when you get stuck at sales, everybody who comes in becomes a potential threat and competitor. So that's when you now see people fighting dirty and, trying to use all type of false advertising to sell. Good. So the first reason why most people wouldn't do that is that's literally telling Coca-Cola to give its trade secret to Pepsi.
And that's impossible. Okay.
Exactly. So that's what you're asking, yes.
Okay.
So that won't happen. But however, there are people who have done this over time, who are in the business, but they have gotten to a point where, do you know what? I started as sales. Right now, I'm not doing retail. I want to go into wholesale and distributorship. Or I want to actually relocate and I need someone here in Nigeria. Okay. So those people now become better options at doing that type of business with. Okay. So the thing there is the capacity or ability to locate the right consultant or the right person to ask. Yeah. And that's another thing I say about consultancy, because when you talk about consultants, in fairness to some people, they have tried, but it was also a case of what I ordered versus what I got. Yes. So you have a lot of packaged people, a lot of packaged businesses. So you don't really blame some of them why they don't do consultants. But then I always say, when it comes to consultancy, there should be a window where I explain to you what you're going to, what you're getting into, what you're going to go through, and how you're going to go through it. Yes. Then I can give you a roadmap as to how to start. So that shows my level of expertise. Then you can now decide whether to work with me or not. Okay. But like I said, just as the Nigerian mentality does not, to a large extent, because I'm not going to be unfair to people who actually do, but to a large extent, we don't see the need to understand a business, understudy a business, have a plan, an actual plan that goes beyond, I like this business, and it goes beyond beauty. This is practically any business. Oh, I like this idea. I've seen someone doing it. I want to go and get their staff, and I will set up a business. That strategy is one of the oldest strategies in the book that does not work, but we keep replicating it. So there are so many challenges why people don't do that. Okay. So it ranges from the person you want to meet not being willing to share information, okay, to you having tried to reach out to a consultant but you got the wrong one, okay, to someone telling you, just try it. After all, this is how this person started. Just start, you get it right. So these are the reasons why there is a certain mindset around working with consultants.
All right, great insight. But now let's dive into the main topic for today.
You mean this wasn't the main topic?
No. So let's bring it down to the main topic. Yeah. Now, what are some major mistakes, or rather, let me not put major because it can also be minor. What are some mistakes that you consider small business, or rather, you said I shouldn't limit it to small business owners. So business owners make when not working with consultants?
Okay, so first things first, right? No matter the industry you're coming from, there are always 3 levels of expertise. Because sometimes when you tell people that you are in the medical field, you are a successful doctor, does not guarantee that you own a successful hospital.
That's true.
Exactly. That you are a successful lawyer does not guarantee that you would own a successful legal practice, because that is the business of it. And what people fail to understand is we have people who are technicians, we have people who are managers, and we have people who are entrepreneurs. These are skills that your character traits help you develop over the years. So the mistake most people make is not identifying where they fall into. When you talk to a consultant, in that conversation, your consultant can first of all save you millions by telling you, you know what, your capacity best suits you being in a managerial outfit, or you running a business, or you developing your capacity to the highest level as a manager. So as a manager means you can manage industries, you can manage businesses, but starting, running, allowing the decision-making processes to be on you is a different ball game, and that's what a lot of people are not cut out for. Okay. There are some people, their capacity is technical, meaning that they are the operation of any system. If you take them to admin, they will fail woefully. If you take that, but anything that has to do with the operations of that business, that is where they fall in. Okay. So working with a consultant would help you bring that to clarity, to bear. Now, should I decide now, maybe I have the capacity of a technician, I am operationally based. And that was the case of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. He is a technician. So he has the technical know-how. He's not a marketer. That was why he was never the face of Facebook for a very long time.
Yes.
Neither was he at the decision-making place. He was at the development phase because he understood his strength and his capacity. Now, that did not take away the fact that he owned the business. So, venturing into entrepreneurship, when you discover your capacity, you now know how to hire right. You now know how to bring on board people who will complement your weakness. So everybody wants to be a CEO. Absolutely. You can own the business, but please bring someone in who can take risks that you can't, who can think innovatively, someone who has entrepreneurial characteristics. So that's what kills a lot of businesses, because when push comes to shove, when the business starts going through those turmoils that businesses normally go through, the person who is not an entrepreneur, that's when they quit, that's when they close shop.
That's true. There are many businesses you see today that are closed down because of, like I said, reaching out to you. I also reached out to a lot of CEOs and business owners. So there was one certain time I reached out to, I can't really remember, let me not mention the name, a brand. And I reached out to her to invite her on the show, and she was like, oh, she's sorry, but her brand has been closed for a while. And maybe when she eventually picks up, she would be glad to be on the show. And the funny thing is that her business is still on Google. It's still there, like it's not
active.
Yeah, it's active.
Yes.
So what about people that are now reaching out to you for your services? Is this how you tell them that, okay, my business, I can't render those services to you anymore?
You see, that's the business is an emotional venture. The death of a business is sometimes like the death of a loved one, especially if it's one you've put your heart and your soul into. Yes. So sometimes you can be in denial. Sometimes you leave it there. Maybe you just allow it to hibernate. Maybe, I'm not saying it isn't right, because when you're off, you should be off so other people who are active and who are in business would have that space to come up. But then it also gives people the push, like, okay, if they decide not to be online or not to run the business for a while, and maybe they start getting inquiries, it can be the push they need to pick, to get right back up. Yes.
Right. So talking about another pitfall of small business owner not reaching out, not working with consultant. What about this major misconception from business owners that consultancy or consulting is expensive, because that is one major misconception. Most times they'll tell you, oh, no, I can't reach out to an expert or a consultant, because what if they bill me? What if their money is... So what about that? Like, what do you have to say about it?
That, right?
Yes.
You know that phrase that says, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Yes. So that's exactly what happens to most of them. If you intend to invest more than, well, today's currency, let's say 500,000. If you want to invest your hard-earned 500,000 in anything, I think the right thing to do would be to limit or mitigate your risks. Because see what happens. Getting a consultant is expensive, but failing is more expensive.
That's true.
I have seen businesses, a business owner gets all excited. Oh, in fact, I've had experiences where someone reaches out and says, oh, I would want to run this. I would like to have this session with you. And you tell the person, okay, this is what it would cost. And the person's like, that's expensive. I can't do it. Do you know what? I've gotten a shop. I've done this. I've done that. And I'm like, okay. Some will just go off the radar. Okay, do you know what? I'll get back to you.
And they will never get back to
6
me.
months, 10 months later, the person calls. I always get that. The person calls to say, I wish I listened. Because you see people who go ahead to pay for a shop because it's affordable, only to realize that the people they are targeting have no business around that area. So you have incurred a cost, you have bought equipment, you've hired your staff, you've hired a team, and you're not able to deliver. So you've lost millions because you didn't see the need to spend a few thousand
that's true.
to get that clarity. So doing it wrong is always more expensive, especially when the investment is high. Like if you have maybe like 100,000 or less, I would say if you can't, because at that point you may not be able to afford a consultant, but please research. They are always free. Like on my platform, I have a lot of free resources that can help you start up a kitchen business. That's what I call it, a kitchen. Any business you can run from your house or run from the comfort of your home. It's more like a kitchen business. There are free resources that can help mitigate against that. Read up about it. And you know the thing about when we research, we always research for who's doing it well. You don't learn from people who are doing it well. Research to find out people who have failed doing it and know what they failed at.
That's true.
So that is how you learn. But when you get to the point where you want to do the business a certain way, it is cheaper for you to engage an expert. And, you know, engaging an expert is another total conversation on its own. Because like I said, people have engaged wrong experts because of social media hype, because of referrals, because the person looked very good. And, you know, they put that together, they put all of that into consideration, and they go ahead to engage this expert or this consultant only to find out that it's a scam, in quote. So part of what I also do is to advise on how to find the right consultant.
Okay, all right. Let's bring it down to the world being a global village.
Absolutely.
So now, asserting to what Marshall McLuhan said in his story about the world being a global village, we're gradually becoming technologically advanced. And now you see business owners reaching out to their clients, reaching out to potential buyers, potential customers online. And now, I don't know, when you first of all came, I asked you, you were, I think, the top 2 business. When I clicked on it, were you involving yourself in any kind of marketing campaign? So now this is where my question comes in right now. So, based on how we are becoming digitalized,
Okay.
a lot of business owners reach out to their clients, customers via digital means. And now this brings about a lot of advertising and marketing campaigns done.
Absolutely.
So now, can you shed more light on how not working with consultants, because obviously they are consultants that specializes in this, that knows the way how Meta works, how social media works, the best way to reach out to your target audience. Now, can you shed more light on how not working with consultants who specializes in all this can affect or impact a business?
Okay. I'm trying to remember who made this statement, innovate or die.
Really? This
Yes.
is the first time I'm hearing
Innovate
about it.
or die, yes. I'm trying to remember who said that. The worst mistake anybody, be you an entrepreneur, be you a career-driven person, the worst thing you do to yourself, your business, or your career is not to catch up with the trend. I tell people every time I have the opportunity that I learned about Instagram from then a 17-year-old. Yes, this was, I think I've been on Instagram a little over, how old is Instagram now? About 10 years, more than 10 years?
More than.
So I remember the first time he asked me, he said, "Hey, Mama, you're not on Instagram." I'm like, "What's that? Is that not that video app?" Is that not that video app? That was what I said. He said, "No, what you do, you need to be on Instagram, this, that." And he showed me what he could do on Instagram. And I booked sessions with him. And I remember sometimes I would call him up and I'll be like, "Hey, when are we having our class?" He's like, "Mama, you're making me feel comfortable. Am I having classes? Am I teaching you?" But he taught me how to use Instagram. Now, maybe today he might not be on Instagram. Definitely he's young, so he should be. But what I am doing with Instagram today is because I understood the need to catch up with trends. And I also understood the need to work with somebody who knows. So it's not just about being a consultant, because I also had to catch up with AI. I had to catch up with AI, so I needed to take classes as well. So I still had to look for a consultant to put me through on how it works. And yes, I still work with platforms. You asked if I have somebody who had those. Yes, I actually have someone who puts out a marketing roadmap for me and say, "We need to do this, we need to do this, and this is what you need to put, this is the content you need to put out." And he knows the platforms to put it out. He knows the platforms to use. So not using a consultant, especially in this day and age. See, right now you can't sell value without selling innovation.
That's true.
You can't sell value without innovation. I can't say I know this. I mean, you found me. I could do this for the next 10 years and nobody knows. For the next 20 years and nobody knows. And the next thing I'll tell you, "Oh, consulting, Nigerians don't do consulting," but nobody knows. So you can't take away the use of a consultant, especially when it comes to technology, when it comes to marketing. You can't take it away from both business, and that's why I'm not restricting it to business, both business and career growth, because I know a lot of people who through LinkedIn have gotten their dream jobs in and out of this country. So it is not limited to just owning businesses. It's also for the career-driven person to know that everything you're doing, which, by the way, is another reason why you need to do things right. Because when you do things right and you do them efficiently, when you put those credentials there, trust me, especially if you're going to work with companies abroad, they will verify. So every platform, every opportunity you have access to, learn to add value to innovation, and not working with a consultant also too on that, who specializes in that, is probably going to be another business why you might die not innovating.
Now, I want to know where consistency comes in all of this.
So you remember when we started, I told you I started at Say You Hair Academy.
Yes.
and I became Salon Business Africa.
Yes.
If there's one thing that would always come up when you talk about me, is beauty business. I have been consistent with beauty business. I have been consistent with the industry. And when I now decided to pick a path, which is consulting, business development, and management, even when it still cuts across other departments, other industries, because when I started upgrading, and like I said, the challenges I faced running a business was what made me delve into business management and structuring, because I realized that beauty business did not have a lot of that. So when you're struggling, when you want to do things right, you just don't know where to start, and you truly, honestly, do not even know how to start. And there was a very major problem, which was what propelled me to actually go further, is the fact that the international climate and standard is not applicable to Nigerian businesses. Oh, trust me.
Really?
When it comes to beauty, and I'm sure as with other industries,
Yes.
it is not applicable, because there are some things that are standard. Before you run a business, you must be properly registered.
Oh, yeah.
Before you run a business, you must be certified.
Okay.
Before you offer services, you can't do false advertising. You can't be sued. So there are lots of things that are applicable. So when someone brings a template from abroad, it's always like, you know, sometimes when I see some standards people create, are like, oh, when this happens, I have this staff policy, I will sue my staff. I'm like, I'll sue them. I'm like, even your lawyer will tell you that they have cases with in the police station. So there are, you learn to create, modify, and come up with structures, policies, which is what I have done over time now. So we've come up with policies, strategies, and training systems that are in sync with the climate and that the people understand. So there is a reward and punishment template for working with Nigerian-owned businesses, for working with beauty businesses in Nigeria. So the one that is applicable in one industry, trust me, definitely is not applicable in another.
Yeah.
So those are the dynamics of, you know, working around that.
And there you have it, a wealth of wisdom here on Solutions Podcast. The journey of a small business is no doubt filled with challenges, but just as you have heard here on Solutions Podcast, the power of consulting can be the pathway to your remarkable transformation. Remember, in a dynamic landscape of a business, seeking expert advice is, or rather, can make a difference between success and struggle. Now, if you want to make a difference between success and struggle, look down in the description box. You'll see our website link. Click on it and book a consultation, or you can call any of our lines you see on the screen. We are available 24/7 to give you the right guidance that can help you make a difference. Be sure to tune into our next episode of Solutions Podcast, where we'll continue to delve into topics that supports your journey, or rather, that supports your business on your journey towards success. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on your post notification so as to get updates on our new episodes. Thank you for joining us today. This is Solutions Podcast, and I am your host, Victoria Najimo. Till next time.